Montgomery County. This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hello everyone and welcome back. RTV Sports Rap beginning the month of February, and it is time for the Super Bowl preview show. Hello everyone, I'm Spencer Byers. Joining me this week, JC Coots and Cajun Theru Thaney Castlum. Thank you so much for joining me today, gentlemen. And obviously, again, the Super Bowl is just coming up, fastly approaching. We left it by last week just because we knew we have the Pro Bowl coming up that no one watches and no one cares about, so we'd get ready for the main event. Main event is now here. We're just a couple of days away from the big event, and obviously nothing else will be going on at 6:30 Sunday night except for probably just the Super Bowl and everything that goes around with it. So gentlemen, I'll start with you, JC. New England versus Seattle, a rematch of, I believe it was 2017 when Malcolm Butler picks off Russell Wilson at the goal line to win the Super Bowl for the New England Patriots, which I believe was their fourth or fifth as a team for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. So do you think it's going to be a repeat for the New England Patriots, or do you see Seattle rewriting some history and righting a wrong that obviously they know they should right from the Marshawn Lynch running the ball on the goal line?
Oh, man, I remember exactly where I was when that moment happened. We were at a sports bar in Grand Prairie, Alberta, hosting a Super Bowl party. And I remembered that I had a bet with my co-host on the afternoon show on 97.7 Rock in Grand Prairie that if they lost, I was going to have to do like a nude pose holding something. I can't remember what the object was. Obviously classy nude, and that would be shared to all the social media. Or if my co-host lost, if the Seahawks had won, if the Seahawks had won, I would have lost. If the Patriots won, which they did, she had to dress up in a hot dog suit and stand on the busiest corner in the city and get people to ask her about her wiener. So I'm glad that the Marshawn Lynch thing unfolded the way it did, because it saved my butt that day. But what a wild way to end that Super Bowl. And yes, I think the Seahawks will get their revenge. I think they will right that moment, because they just are going to be too much, I think, for the Patriots to handle. I don't know. I mean, Super Bowls, very rarely do we see like a blowout. I think it'll be somewhat close, but I think Seattle just has the tools and the depth to get through. I think New England's reemergence now as a bit of a football power is a little premature. I think maybe they are, in fact, possibly setting up another dynasty. But honestly, I think Seattle just has it. They're the odds-on favorite. I was just reading a simulation. They did a simulation 10,000 times, and like most of the times, Seattle came out as the winner. So I would be amazed. I mean, Super Bowls can go really any way, but I don't think anyone will be surprised this Sunday to hear that the Seahawks are your champs.
Well, I would not necessarily say, even though I know the reserves came in last year between Philadelphia and KC, but obviously going in, no one would have expected KC to lose 40-22. And then you have to go all the way back to 2014 when Seattle beat the Broncos 41, was it to 8? Pardon me. Yeah, 43-8 in favor of the Seattle Seahawks over the Denver Broncos. So that's really the last time we saw a true blowout where one team showed up, the other team didn't, and the final score was that in the biggest game in North American sports for sure. Cajun, I'll go to you next. Who do you like going into the Super Bowl? Are you going Seahawks or are you leaning for New England?
I mean, based off of how New England's path has been, granted they went up against a Broncos team that didn't have Bo Nix, and that kind of went right down to the wire. And Seattle had a tougher road. Pretty much laid the shellacking on your Niners and went toe-to-toe against what arguably could have been, aside from the Patriots, their probably best competition, like the other best team in the NFL, and the Rams. So the fact that they went through that test, their defense is amazing. You would think it'd be Seattle, but I've seen crazy things happen in Super Bowls. And it's one game take all. put aside the records, put aside the stats and all that. It comes down to who shows up in that one game. If I do have to pick a team, it based off of what I've seen, it would have to be Seattle, but I wouldn't count New England out.
I will correct myself quickly. 2017 was 16-17 when it was 28-3, and New England came back on the Falcons. 2014-15 was the 28-24 win for New England over Seattle in the Super Bowl, I believe, in Arizona, where the Cardinals currently play. This year it'll be in Levi Stadium, where the Niners play. The one caveat I will say, gentlemen, because I'll pick New England. I picked them on a bet sheet we got at the Bayshore, JC. I believe you got one the other on Wednesday night when Kishner came to town. I filled it out. I had to pick New England, and again, my reasoning is pretty simple. I can't pick Seattle. I'm a Niners fan. That just goes against good conscience and good conduct. I have to pick New England. I also don't hate New England like most other people do from the Brady era, from the Belichick era. I don't have that disdain that a lot of other people do, so I don't necessarily see them in a villainy light that most other people seemingly do, as I've kind of interacted with other people who think Seattle's going to win just because they can't pick New England for my very same reason. The other thing I will mention is in the two playoff matchups and Week 18, Seattle played the Niners, and the Rams, all of which are NFC West division rivals. Now, those two division rivals are two of the best teams in football. That NFC West was a dogfight all season long between the Los Angeles Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and, of course, the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle coming out on top not only in the playoffs but also in the division, getting the number one seed. But when you play a team that many times, 3 times now for both the Niners and the Rams, there's a lot of familiarity, a lot of game plan, a lot of easy matchup that way where you know what the other team's going to give you, you know what you're going to get, and it's a matchup versus matchup, and it's way more strategic in that way. When you're playing against a team you haven't played yet this season, there's a lot more unknown of how is our pass rush going to do, how is our whole coverage going to handle it. You know, Mike McDonald's a great defensive mind and one of the best defensive play callers in football, and I know that to be true, but that does not necessarily mean that he's going to be able to prepare for a team that he hasn't played, because for the last month he's prepared for teams in his own division that he's seen a couple of times, that he has lots of film on. You know, the New England film, you can't even use last week's film because it was in a tundra. You can't use that film. That film's useless. You got to throw that in the garbage. You got to go back to the division round against the Texans. You got to go back to Week 18, Week 17 to be able to game plan for this New England team. So I do think that is a advantage for Mike Vrabel's New England team. And honestly, that's another reason why I'll pick New England, is because I think they're going to be not necessarily more ready, but more prepared to play against a team that they have not faced yet versus Seattle, where they have now a month of game planning against teams they've seen twice, now 3 times, versus a team that they have now not seen, who's 14-3 in themselves, and has Drake May, who's maybe, obviously, I would say probably the better quarterback, at least in my opinion, in the game. So Cajun picks Seattle, JC picks Seattle, I will take New England, as I now go take a look at a couple of prop bet sheets. Gentlemen, this again is usually where all the fun comes in. So the first question, I'll start with you, Cajun. Charlie Puth will be singing the national anthem. The over-under is 120 seconds, 2 minutes. Is he over or under 2 minutes for the national anthem?
Based off of runs and based off of the fact that of elongating, though it won't be to the level of Fergie.
I hope not.
I'd say over.
Okay, JC, are you also over or are you under?
I think I'm going to go with over as well, just because Charlie Puth, if you listen to some of his music, he does have some uppity, dancey stuff, but he can really draw out a sad song. And I think he's probably going to take his sweet time with it and really let you know that he can sing. So you're going to see probably an over for sure on that.
I also will go over, just because I don't necessarily think anyone ever goes quick in the national anthem. It's your, 15 minutes of fame, if you will, even though obviously all these people are famous singers anyway. But, it's your big moment on the Super Bowl, millions of people watching. It's your chance to perform, and you might as well take up all the TV time you can, because it's not like they're going to speed you up. So you might as well do it. I'll take the over as well. That's a clean sweep. Gentlemen, start with you, JC. Heads or tails? The easy 50-50 question is the coin flip heads or the coin flip tails?
I like tails. Tails for sure.
Cajun?
I'm going to go heads.
I am also a heads picker. I pick heads in every video game I've ever played since I was about 15. So gotta stick with tradition. Gotta stick with the EA Madden franchise. I'm gonna go with heads for myself. Now I will go, gentlemen, to the next one, which is the first play of the game. Will it be a run play or will it be a pass play, JC?
I am always of the mindset that when you get up there for your first down, you're probably going to hand it off to your running back. And for this, I have to predict that Seattle's going to get the ball first, and then they're going to hand off.
Cajun, are you going to be a run guy or a pass?
If the ball goes to Seattle, it's a run. If the ball goes to New England, I'm going to say it's a pass.
Okay, Cajun, that's not the question. The question is, what's the first play of the game? I'm not asking you who gets the ball. I'm asking you what's the first play. So what's the first play of the game? Who do you think gets the ball versus what do you think the play is going to be?
Who do I think gets the ball first? New England.
Well, who do you think gets the ball first to run the first play of the game?
New England, so pass.
So Cajun's a pass. I will also go run because I think, honestly, regardless of who gets the ball first, I think both teams are probably going to make a run play. I might get gypped and it'll be a screen play, which technically is a forward pass, even though for most offensive coordinators, a screen play is just an extension of the run. But I will resignate to it will be a run play. I assume Kenneth Walker and or Ramon Stevenson / Trayvon Henderson will get the first play of the game between their two sides. Now on to who scores first, Seattle or New England? Now, Cajun, you think New England's getting the ball first. Do you think they score first?
Yeah, a field goal.
Ooh, a PAT. JC, are you also thinking the team who gets the ball first scores first? But I think you would say Seattle?
Yeah, and you know what? Either way, I think I like a team in the Super Bowl to score on that opening drive because you get out there on that opening drive and like you just want to go 1,000 miles an hour. And if you've got the ball, you're just thinking, I got to get within the red zone and I got to get some points here. And you can really pick apart a defense, I think, early in a game until they figure out what you're throwing at them. They are going to be susceptible. So, yeah, I always like whoever has the ball to score first, probably a field goal.
Now, not one on either of these sheets, but I believe I signed it when we did the physical copy, JC, on Wednesday night. It is on the kick off. Will it be a return or will it land in the end zone for a touchback? I'll start with you, JC, because I think it's an interesting idea of obviously with the new rules and trying to get more kicks in play, and obviously Seattle running back the kickoff in the divisional round against the Niners for Raheed Shaheed getting his big moment and making the Seattle Stadium go absolutely berserk. So JC, do you believe that the kick return will be returned, or do you think it will end up being a touchback?
Oh, touchback. And like that, whoever kicks that ball off is going to kick it through, like try to kick it out of the stadium. It's going to be a touchback.
Cajun, are you also a touchback, or do you think it's going to be caught and run?
I think it's going to be a touchback, especially after what we saw, like when Shaheed took it to the house.
See, that was also my reaction. But my thought process was because of the incentivization of making the ball be in play and touchbacks being like the 35 or something ridiculous now, I thought, you know what? I think it's going to be a catch. I think it's going to be a run because I think if Shaheed gets the ball in his hands, regardless of if he catches it in the end zone or right near the goal line, he's going to go. So that's my thought process, is if it's Raheed Shaheed, the ball touches his hands, he's gone. New England, on the other hand, I think it's maybe a 50-50 if they take it out or not, just because they bid on the field position versus Raheed Shaheed, who trusts his speed, which he should. Again, he ran back a 97-yard kickoff touchdown in the divisional, so he has that cachet with that team to go. So I will just say catch and run, because I just think it gives a little bit more levity. And honestly, I think as a kicking team, you hope that you can get him down within 15, 20 yards, and you make up the yardage that you're hoping not to lose on a touchback. And we will now move to, I think this one might be interesting. What is the first turnover of the game, Cajun? Is it a interception or will it be a fumble?
I'm gonna say interception.
What about you, JC?
That's a tough one. I would like to think I would like to think that Darno is going to be almost perfect. So if it's a pick, I don't think it's coming from him. It's likely to come from Drake May. And with that Seattle defense, I would say, yeah, probably an interception before a fumble, I would think.
I'm going to go with fumble. I agree with JC that I don't necessarily see either team being that aggressive passing the ball, especially early. I think both teams are really going to work their way into that and seeing what coverages they're going to get matched up against. And I think because of that, you're going to see a running back take 2 steps, try to go inside zone. Some guy's going to drill him and the ball's going to pop loose. And that's going to cause pandemonium, regardless of who recovers the football. And I wouldn't obviously suspect that Kenneth Walker will do it. I think, honestly, you probably bet Ramondre Stevenson of the running backs would probably the one drop the ball. But, it depends, obviously, on who gets the ball first and how many drives we go and, honestly, how quick both teams start. Because there are Super Bowls that start pretty cagey, where both teams, kind of feel each other out and both teams really do take their time to play their way into the game. But I do agree with JC. I will also go with fumble personally. Now, another interesting one, guys. Does either team score 3 consecutive times? On 3 consecutive drives, does a team score? I'll start with you, JC.
I think that's a lot for the Super Bowl. I mean, if it's a situation like that, I think you're probably seeing the developments of a blowout. And like I said earlier, I don't think in the modern times that we see that many real blowouts in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to say no. I think it's going to be a fairly tight game, and the most I could see is like 2 consecutive scores where maybe you score a touchdown and then you manage to put the other team out and then are able to carry some momentum and run down and get a field goal. I don't think it's going to be more than 2 consecutive scores.
Gajan, do you agree with JC? Do you think there won't be any team who score more than 2 consecutive drives?
I don't see that happening. I agree with JC.
I will also agree. I don't necessarily see either team pulling away that quickly. I think another interesting question, though, guys, honestly, looking at some of these spreadsheets here. I just lost it. I don't know how I lost it. There it is. Will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown? We just spoke about Raheed Shaheed and his magic on the kickoff return, and we also know how good that defense for Seattle and New England is, respectively. So, Cajun, will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown in the game?
Yeah, I see that.
Who do you think gets it? Now, I won't include this in the prop bets, but who do you think gets it if there is one?
You mean between defense and special teams?
I mean between teams. Like, who do you think? Do you think it's a defensive touchdown for Seattle, New England, or do you think it's special teams touchdown for Seattle or New England?
I think it's a defensive or special teams touchdown for Seattle.
I mean, Raheed Shaheed's always a good option, and I love Devin Witherspoon of the Seattle defense. He's one of the best press corners, especially in the NFL, in my opinion. JC, what about you? Do you think there's a special teams touchdown or defense touchdown in the game?
I'm gonna say a defense touchdown, and it'll probably, if it happens, be like a pick thrown by Drake May that one of the Seattle defensive players grabs, and it's going to be a situation where the Patriots are kind of pinned down within their own, I'm going to say 30. I think that's where you'll see it happen. is it's going to be a high pressure situation where they blitz him and then he's going to give it away.
Now, I've heard of Drake May's passer rating under pressure, and it is bad, like woefully bad. So that's a great synopsis, JC. I think that's very plausible, especially late in the game. And that might be like the icing on the cake, maybe the coming of age moment of them getting a pick six to ice the game. Maybe that's their poetry after the touchback pick that ended their game back in 2015. I'm personally going to go with no, because unless Raheed Shaheed takes one back, like a punt return or a kick return, I don't see either team's defense getting a pick that advantageous in the game, because I don't see either team's defense wanting to be that, I'll say that, provocative. I think they're going to catch it and get out of bounds and get their offense a chance to go, because I think both teams really do trust in their offenses and trust that they're going to be able to do what they're supposed to do. Now, obviously, if Drake May gets blitzed and he just throws up a cookie and it's an easy pick for Seattle and they go, I think that's obviously a very plausible outcome. I just don't necessarily hope that New England's put in that position late in the game. I hope it's Seattle put in that position late in the game and they go out on downs and New England's able to go in the victory position to win the football game. So I'll go with no defensive or special teams touchdown for either side. Now, another interesting one. Now, this goes to the halftime show with Bad Bunny. Now, I listen to Bad Bunny's music, not my kind of music. But he's number 12th in the world on Spotify from what I saw, with almost 85 million monthly listeners. So obviously he's a very popular artist. For anyone who's saying, who is this person? Why is he performing the halftime show? It's because he's popular. I got my halftime show with 50 Cent, Eminem, Dr. Dre. That's my kind of music. Those are my artists that I really like. That's my kind of music. I'm happy to have that halftime show. This is other people's type of music. I'm happy for them to have their halftime show. Just means I won't be watching it. It means I'll be going to grab snacks or refill my pop when I go get ready for the second half of the Super Bowl, implying the game is close at that point, which I think we all expect it will be. But JC, do you think anyone will accompany Bad Bunny on stage at the Super Bowl? Do you think anyone comes out to perform with him, or do you think it's a solo show in the end?
Oh no, somebody's coming out. And I mean, it could be a range of things, especially if you start to think about San Francisco artists that are big. And I know, I will admit, not a Bad Bunny music listener myself, although as a guy that ran a radio station that played that type of music, I know how big the footprint is. You know what? You want to know what I love Bad Bunny for? It's his appearances on SNL. That dude is freaking hilarious. He was just on a couple of weeks ago, and he was great. But I would say, just being a rock guy myself, I would not be surprised if like Metallica rolled out at one point and did something with Bad Bunny. And I think you're going to see a lot of support thrown behind this, because for some reason people have given him a rough go as being the halftime show. Which, remember, NFL fans, the halftime show is not for football fans. It's for the bigger audience that tunes in. So that's why that was actually my guess before they even announced a Super Bowl musical guest. Or Taylor Swift. But I think somebody will come out for sure. And I think, given the current climate that is the America right now and everything that's going on, I think you're going to see something pretty spectacular. So I'm almost sad that I'll likely be in the car driving home from Ottawa after the Attack road trip, that I won't get to see it, but I think it's going to be one that lives on in highlight clips for a long time. So get ready for a good show on Saturday.
Cajun, what about you? Do you think anyone joins Bad Bunny on stage during the halftime show?
See, I've been around you way too long that that's something in my mind, but I can't say it on it. I can't say it.
I'm getting slander without even you saying anything. What's going on right now? This is crazy.
But I'm not gonna say it.
I hope not.
I would say I saw something in terms of odds that like Daddy Yankee was literally at plus 190 odds. So I'm like, why not? And somebody is gonna join him on stage.
I gotta be honest, didn't even think of like Daddy Yankee, Pitbull, other Spanish, and obviously, I believe Daddy Yankee's American, but I know Pitbull's American from Florida, but Cuban descent, speaks a lot of Spanish in a lot of his music. So that actually makes a lot of sense, having a person who does do like mixtures of Spanish and English music to join him. I may have just been convinced because I was going to go with no.
It'll be Shakira.
That's another great. That's another great option. Didn't she join? Was it? I know she joined a halftime show previous. Was it?
I think she probably did one. I don't know, but I think she might still owe money to the Spanish government for that tax evasion thing. So she probably needs the work.
Yeah, she probably does need the work. I'm gonna go with no, because a lot of his popular music does not have a lot of other featured artists on them. So there isn't like a song that I'm like, man, like if DaBaby, or like I'll say DaBaby is a rapper, but like if an artist performs a song, that other artist has to be there to perform that song. Like he doesn't have a lot of that. So I'm gonna go with no, but I think JC's logic is almost dead on, and I think he may be very right that another band or artist will join him on stage to perform if it's their own music or a song with him. I think that's a great option. Now I have two more guys left to go before we go. Color of Gatorade showered on the winning coach. So you both think Seattle's going to win. What color of Gatorade will be showered on Mike McDonald when Seattle wins the Super Bowl, JC?
Purple. Going with purple. I don't know why. I like purple Gatorade, so maybe that's why. What
about you, Cajun?
I'm going to go with blue.
I always go clear. I think clear is a pretty safe option. I personally like only orange, so I know no one's going to use orange. That's more of a hockey thing, I feel like. So I'll go clear. And Cajun, what color did you say again?
Blue.
Blue, as I write these down. Who drinks blue anymore? What a bad answer. All right, guys, and the last one, starting with you, Cajun. We got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. MVP of the Super Bowl. You have to assume it'll be a winning team. So who do you think wins Super Bowl MVP this year?
I'm going to say Darnold is going to have his best game ever. On the biggest stage, he's overcome a lot, rebuilt his value, like when he was with the Vikings, had a bit of a lull at one point during that season where he where he turned over the ball a lot. I think he's going to show out. I think it's going to be Darnold.
I mean, the Jets are just fighting the air, and the Panthers too, because the Panthers now have Bryce Young, who I do like, but they had Baker Mayfield, who with the Buccaneers succeeding now. They had Sam Darnold, who's now succeeding, obviously formerly with the Vikings and now in the Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. So, I mean, what a career for him. JC, what about you? Who do you think wins Super Bowl MVP?
I also think it's probably Sam Darnold. And what a comeback of a story that is for him. Really, you're down and out in New York, and now here you are in Seattle, and who would have ever thought that he'd be on the Super Bowl stage this quickly? So yeah, I like Sam Darnold, but if you want me to go with a guy that maybe is a dark horse pick, I don't know, Cooper Kupp. I don't know.
I saw one of these picks that we didn't go through because I just saw no point. It's like Keyshawn Bote of the New England Patriots versus Cooper Kupp receiving yards. And in my head, I'm thinking Cooper Kupp, easy money. Now, this season, statistically, they are pretty close. But I still think Cooper Kupp is an easy pick, not only because he's a vet, not only because he has the experience, but because he's just a possession guy. Like, they're going to manufacture him yards if they see they need him in certain situations, on third down, in short, in certain route concepts. He's just going to get open. Now, I'm going to pick Drake May. I got New England winning the Super Bowl, so obviously quarterback's going to win the MVP award unless somebody has 4 picks and 3 touchdowns. So I will take Drake May. They both take Sam Darnold. We'll just have to see, guys. That runs us out. Super Bowl coming up this week. I know we're going to be watching it. I know you're going to be watching it right around the Attack as they go out on their 2-week road trip throughout Kingston, Ottawa area, as well as I believe Peterborough as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. JC Coots, Cajun Theory with Danny Caslam, and myself, Spencer Byers. See you next week on RTV Sports Rap.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Are you a passionate content creator ready to expand your audience reach? Do you have unique stories, captivating hobbies, or special interests that deserve